Our Bible word is Genesis 2 verse 15. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. So Genesis, and here we have to do with the beginning or the creation. And of course there's also lots of confusion in terms of how to interpret Genesis and the creation stories contained therein. There are some who say we must take it literally. This is the way it really happened. There was really literally 7 24-hour days of creation, and there was really God took the rib or whatever from Adam and created the woman and all that. And there are others who will say, well, you can't trust the Bible and there is no God because look at this, it can't be historically accurate, it's not scientifically accurate, so you can't believe in this. But of course, for a person living around the time of the exile, when these narratives took shape, we must understand, or we must enter their world. What did they understand, or how did they understand these texts of Genesis? Because they will look at contemporary discussions about Genesis and what people believe about it and say, you have it all wrong. That's not the intention of the text. That is not what the text is communicating or about. So what is Genesis and these narratives in Genesis 1 and 2 really about? If we focus first on the creation account of Genesis 1 verse 1 to 2 verses 3, that you can summarize as God creates order from chaos. I don't have time now to go into the full detail of the account, but we must understand that this is not about material origins. This is not where the universe began to exist. The universe already exists when Genesis starts speaking. The matter that the universe is made of is already there, and it's in a state of chaos. This was typical of creation myths around this time. The Sumerians had myths like this, the Babylonians, and now the people of Israel, they share that kind of language. There was chaos, disorder, and then from a biblical perspective, God came and He creates order from chaos. So it's not about material origins. This is not where it started. And what happens here is that various elements are ordered and assigned function and purpose. We can make an analogy. Imagine you were a librarian and you come into a library where there's just chaos. The books are lying all over the place. The book racks are lying toppled over. They are broken, whatever it is. And it's now your job as a librarian to make it functional. It must be a library. Where must people come to read and acquire knowledge. So you'll go and first you'll arrange all the book racks, one for science, one for English literature, one for history, one for biology, whatever it may be. You construct the book racks and you arrange them. And that's basically days 1 to 3 of creation. Those are the basic elements that is being ordered, right? It's assigned function. And then the librarian will take all the books and he will allocate them to the right section, and you will also allocate them alphabetically. So it's now all in a state of order. And that is what days 4 to 6 are about. It's the users of the elements. For example, day 1, God created light. And who uses the light? Go to day 4, the sun, the moon, and the stars. So think of God like a librarian. He comes and there's this library that has no purpose, it has no function, and He orders it so it can properly function as a library. In a similar sense, God assigns purpose and function to the elements of the universe so that they can work properly. They have functions to perform. There's no longer a state of chaos. And also, so God orders and also inaugurates the cosmic temple. The language here is symbolic. God By creating the cosmos, by ordering it, He's creating a cosmic temple. The world, the creation, is His temple. And on the seventh day where He rests, that means He sits enthroned as the king of His temple, of the cosmos. Because He rests now because He's created order from disorder. And if there's order, it means it's in a state of ritual purity. And if there's something is in a state of ritual purity, it functions properly. So there's purpose and function to this now. God came, He encountered chaos, He turned the cosmos into order, He gave it, assigned to it function and purpose, and on the seventh day when He rests, it means He sits enthroned as king, because He's mastered chaos, and there's order now in the cosmos. So the 7 days are also symbolic of temple construction and inauguration. If you read the texts, the tabernacle took 7 days to construct. The temple in Jerusalem took 7 years to construct. The temple festival to inaugurate the temple was 7 days. So this number 7 is symbolic that this is that God orders and inaugurates the cosmic temple. And part of this narrative also is that man is created in the image of God. That means they are God's representatives. They have dominion over the earth. That's what it means in Genesis to be the image of God. They have dominion over the earth. And they're also there to help God create order. Create and maintain order, because that's exactly what God has done. So that's Genesis 1. And then we have now a second kind of creation narrative that's complementary to it. And that's in Genesis 2 verses 4 to 25. And this is about the priestly role of Adam and Eve. Again, it's not about material origins. This is not where Adam and Eve comes from, so to speak. It is where God selects human beings or specific human beings, and He also assigns them with a purpose. So this is Adam and Eve is assigned function and purpose. They are representatives of humanity. And what is this about? If we go to Genesis 2, it's God creates this beautiful garden called Eden. And it's a beautiful, lush garden. There's rivers running through it. It's beautiful to live in and rich in minerals, etc. And then God puts man in this garden. It was a place for him to be. It's a blessed existence. Let's go to our Bible word again. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. And of course, later in the narrative, God also sees that the man's alone. He needs a helper. So God puts him into a deep state of sleep. That can also possibly mean God put him into a state of trance, that Adam saw a vision. Then God took his rib, although many scholars today say it's not actually a rib, it means the side. So one half of Adam's body. Although our Bible says rib, God took that and formed now the woman, Eve, as his helper, his equal partner in this assignment of function. And what's this function? Eden is a sacred space. It's like a temple. And if we go look at our Bible word, it says there that God took the man to put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. So those words, to tend and to keep, it's often used in the Old Testament to refer to the priestly services performed to God. This is what the priests did. They tended and kept the temple. They made sure that it ran properly, that everything was in place. So Adam and Eve are priests. They function like priests in this garden, which is a sacred space. And the sacred space symbolizes mankind can have a special relationship with God. So Adam and Eve here, or humankind, has been given the role of serving as priests in a sacred space. They must tend and keep the garden, like the priests tend and keep the temple, make sure that it's running properly, etc. Of course, Adam and Eve, they must also give names to the animals, etc. So, like being the image of God in Genesis 1, here they must also help God to create and maintain order of this special place, this sacred space that God has given them so that they can have a special relationship with God. So that's the essences of the two creation accounts, from Genesis 1 to Genesis 2. In Genesis 1 is that God orders and inaugurates the cosmic temple. And then in Genesis 2, humankind is given the role of serving as priests in a sacred space. They must help God, tend the garden, the sacred space. They must be like priests. They must help God create order in a special place where God has put them. Because as Eden is a place of protection, it's also a place of where they can experience special, or God's special presence and fellowship with Him. It's also a place where they are kept safe. So we must understand this kind of language of Genesis 1 and 2, that it's metaphorical. It doesn't describe things how it happened. It communicates a specific meaning. And this was the meaning for the Israelites of this time when this text was written. God created order. He encountered chaos. He assigned function and purpose to the cosmos. And here in Genesis 2, God assigns the purpose and function of Adam and Eve. They are to tend and keep the garden, so to speak, a special place for them. They serve as His priests to help Him maintain and create order.